I'm sitting here on what could be Decumanus, a side street of the site of Qais. So Syria is about 5 kilometers that way. The Golan Heights is just over that ridge to the back there, and just over the ridge there is Lake Tiberias, Occupied Palestine. This is the furthest south I have been in Qais. Most people just stay around the amphitheater, the Cardo Maximus, the Nymphaeum, down that area around the old Ottoman village. But this is the first time I've got down this far, and this is my 4th visit. I've got fairly much down this. Must be a side street because it's definitely not a Cardo. It's huge. Could be. I'm sure it's a Decumanus. It has to be because it's a north-south. Normally Cardos are north-south. Anyway, here I am sitting in Umm Qais in the north of Jordan. Entering the site of Umm Qais, you end up at the Ottoman side. There are guides available at the gate if you would want one. Built on the ruins of the Roman city during the 1800s and was occupied until about the 1980s. This part of the site holds a restaurant, it has a guest house, and some of the local artisan ladies are selling their homemade wares, which are crafts made out of banana leaves, wheat, and other straws, and you can purchase them to support the local ladies. Atop these buildings you can get a great panorama of the 2nd century West Amphitheater and the Golan Heights and over towards the Decumanus Maximus. Inside the Ottoman village you can find a diorama of the site itself, which gives you a little bit of a perspective of the size of the site. This site, now known as Qais, was once known as Gadara. It was mentioned in the Bible, in the New Testament, in Mark 5, 1-20, and in Luke 8, 26-39. This is the setting of where Jesus cast out demons out of a man into a herd of swine that ran into the Sea of Galilee. This site has been prevalent for craft, trade, philosophy, literature, and politics. This antiquity, about 110 kilometres north of Amman, is a site frequented by locals, school groups, as well as tourists. When you approach the West Amphitheater, from this angle you actually approach it from the highest tier. So over the course of your visit you get to see it at the top. You can enter it from the middle, and then you can also enter it down on the ground level. On this western side of the city, partially carved into a hilltop, this black basalt semicircular cavea seating area is likely to be able to sit between 2,000 and 3,000 people. It is a rare example of a basalt-built theatre, but it has some incredible acoustics. This is the view going directly onto the stage, and then moving around, they are the stairs that would raise you up to the middle tier. And when you come into this space, it's actually quite interesting to see it completely made of the black basalt stone. There is a second theatre on this site that is unexcavated at this time, and it's likely made of limestone rather than basalt. With multiple entertainment venues, this suggests that Gadara was a sign of an urban wealthy population. This section of the city is densely populated with public spaces. Adjacent to the west amphitheater is the Basilica and Byzantine ruins component of Gadara. This area is part of the 6th century Byzantine basilica, likely built during the reign of Emperor Justinian. Christianity became the dominant faith by around the 4th century. As you walk around here, you'll notice the architecture changes, the rounded arches, the cross-shaped floor plan, and the use of both basalt and limestone. This mix reflects a transitional period between the Roman civic life and Christian religious rule. With several churches on this site, you see naves and apses and side aisles and atriums or courtyards, and there are cisterns underneath. As you walk over this area, you will see a variety of different flagstones, different sizes and shapes, and it's really interesting to see a hexagonal church. Once again, from the Basilica, you get the magnificent view of the Golan Heights and over towards Lake Tiberias or the Sea of Galilee. With such a high elevation, this site has potentially been occupied from the Iron Age, the 8th or 7th century BCE, Hellenistic about the 3rd to the 1st century BCE, the Romans from around 63 BCE, Byzantines between the 4th and 7th century CE, early Islamic around the 7th to the 10th century CE, and the Ottomans from the 19th century. The West Amphitheater and the basilicas are on the Cardo Maximus, the north-south orientated road, and the Decumanus is the east-west orientated road. Though not brilliantly signposted, this excavation area Z4 in the Hellenistic temple area is a great place to explore just off the Decumanus. Moving down the Decumanus, you can see the different gates and junctions. You see the different flagstones at different directions, indicating where there are either walkways or gates. And underneath this is a part of the cistern system to collect water. Though a lot of the site is unexcavated, some of the site has been reconstructed. Through the destruction of earthquakes and natural forces, the site does look like it is a bit of a oversized rock garden. But if you know what you're looking for in some of the sites, it is quite amazing. A great place to venture off the Decumanus is at the peristyle courtyard, an octagonal building. Within this space, there is about 8 or 9 different buildings that you can explore. I just love the hexagonal buildings. This is why it's important to have comfortable shoes and a hat, sunscreen, and drink water so you can explore this amazing space. Looking across this field, there is a series of pillars, and these pillars are near the bath area, and this would be a well and where the water would be channeled. What I chose to do after I moved off the Decumanus and stayed in this area, I actually just moved along there is some pathways that are delineated by some rocks to walk along, but I also just moved along the goat trails because this area is still grazed by local farmers with their goats and sheep. Now, looking at this piece of basalt just sticking out of the earth, I wondered what it could be attached to. So just moving over to another part of this field, then you can see that it is part of another roadway area. So that could be another Decumanus Quite an amazing sight, just seeing another road dug out of the earth. So I'm actually walking in the direction of the Hippodrome, past underground mausoleums. There's a Tiberias gate, which is actually on the Decumanus, and heading over to the Western City Gate area where the Western Cemetery is. But as I'm just walking generally in a field, I don't actually know what I'm looking at, but I can actually see some remnants of buildings and structures of this time. Walking around this mausoleum area, this would be a space where wealthy families would lay their dead, and they would have carved niches where the bodies would have been laid. On the east side of the Decumanus, there was this large rectangular building, but I couldn't find on any of the archaeological information or research what this structure would have been. There was definitely defined buildings within the outer walls. There was a chimney space and some interesting stairs, but I'm not sure what this space would have been for. I can see it marked on research papers, but it doesn't actually have a tag or a label on it. After walking the site for a couple of hours, I headed back to the junction of the Cardo and the Decumanus, heading past the souk area, which is just below the basilica level, heading past the west amphitheater, heading towards the exit. So visiting Qais for me takes a good couple of hours because I do go off the beaten path. There are a lot of vendors selling water, ice cream, knickknacks, jewellery. You can spend as much time as you like exploring this site, or you can dash in and dash out. It is purely up to you. But if you've made that effort to come this far north, it's a good couple of hours drive, even though it's only 110 kilometres. It's quite a windy road that's not well signposted. So if you've made the effort to come this far, spend as much time as you like exploring this amazing site. Gadara would have been one of the Decapolis cities, one of the 10 cities of the Roman Empire to protect this region. It would be linked to Pella, Abila, and Philadelphia, modern-day Amman. Saying goodbye to the West Amphitheater, the Ottoman village, and heading out towards the exit.